Peter. It's good to see you.
Finally, we meet.
Yes, this is our second meeting, and I'm glad you turned out to be free this afternoon. So, how have you been?
Busy in the sense of in our production side, writing scripts and promos, and we obviously do some commercial work. But we just launched, as you know, a new program called Guess Who's Talking to Us. But I wanted this opportunity to talk to you, and then out the blue, I get a call from you saying, "Why don't you come on the show?"
Yeah, we can set it up soon. But I'm curious, have you always been into media? I mean, tell me a bit of your background, because our friendship turned out to be very unlikely. You just messaged me, I think you were watching one of my episodes. Then,
yes.
Then you reached out, and you were also curious about our car dealerships and our business. So,
by nature, I'm a curious guy, and how I got into the business of we'll call it the general media, from my background really started in newspapers back in England many years ago, and I sort of had some good teachers and some good bosses, and suddenly I found myself was able to promote things like when the movie Star Wars came out. I was able to sit down with some artists and we drew up some specs that was a 24-page tabloid size, and it sort of progressed from there. And then out the blue, I was offered a job in South Africa, but at that particular time it wasn't to be, and then I ended up emigrating to Canada and started in magazine, got into a little bit of newspapers, and then by luck I ended up in radio, sports radio, and from there you remember when the two towers came down?
9/11.
Yes,
2001.
9/11. I was on ground zero 5 days later doing reports back to the satellite because there was no communication. It was all down. And from there, again, timing is everything. It's really sort of uncanny. The head VP of sports, global TV across Canada, saw the interview I was doing, called me, and as they say, the rest is history.
Who did you interview during that period of time?
Boy, Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali. I also did interviewed Muhammad Ali's daughter. She was very much into the medical field, which I think she put out 2 books, and we helped promote that. From Pelé, the Black Pearl of football from Brazil.
He just passed recently.
Yes. So there's such a memory there. F1 racing we got involved in. So we actually launched while I was in Canada. It was called the International Sports Report, and we covered everything: tennis, boxing, cricket. I mean, cricket's a little different, and we got into soccer. We got into rugby, rugby union, and we actually went on tour with one of the national sides, the Canadian national side, doing color commentary. So it was pretty busy. I mean, it seems such a glamorous life, but you fly out Friday night, 7 o'clock, you land early hours of the morning in the UK, and then you've got to drive then to a hotel, get the hotel, and then straight to the stadium. Then there's all the security with the stadium and the cameras, and you've got to test them. And then when you finish doing the game, Sunday morning, you got to be up and back to Canada on the red eye.
But this was your passion early on. Did you know this was what you really wanted to do? Did you venture other industries? Were you into business? Were you into
actually
any other field?
That's a good question, because when I was 14 and left school, there was hardly any jobs, and I ended up working in a tailoring factory which made suits for the Army and Navy, and I used to sweep floors, and then I used to tell my mum, I can't do this for the rest of my life, and my mum used to say, you better be the best the floor sweeper that they've known. And out of that I went to design college in fashion, and then I went for a newspaper group or the progression and got into the creative side. And I was again fortunate in those days to win an award. And on this cruise award that I got, I met some crazy Canadians. And one of them was a vice president of a print shop. And he said, "You got to come to Canada." And I did. And the rest again was more than 40 years.
Okay. So you started off in England.
Yes.
Throughout your childhood, school.
Yeah.
What did you take up in school? Where did you study?
Wow. The school was a tough school. It was hard-headed teachers. Parents in those days did not care whether you hit on the backside with a stake for misbehaving. And the school classrooms were 50, 60 kids in there. How on earth can you
Was
learn?
it all boys?
Yes, yeah. So I excelled in sports just to get out of working, studying. So I moved on from there. I think I really came to grips in those days was with I needed an education. So when I landed in Canada, I enrolled in a college and did called media. And that media included TV and radio. So that was sort of on the back burner for some time. And then I stumbled in for real time in radio and TV.
Did you take up any course on radio, or you had to figure it out from scratch?
I think that's another good question, because you know what? I had no training in front of a mic. What happened is at the college, they just wanted some volunteers to stand in front. CBC in Canada had to send all their students that were in the media business, on this course. And I fell into that, and indirectly, again, I learned. I was very fortunate in the sense that I had the passion for it, and I think the passion took the experience along.
Okay.